I think it's interesting because where do we think that these morals come from? Like,
right.
There's almost this part of me that wants to say, like, they're just God-given. But I don't know. Do you think that's true?
I think it must be. I don't know how else to explain it, right? I mean, I know that there's a thing called empathy, which is my ability to put myself and imagine how you feel based on the way that I treat you or whatever you're going through, right? I can imagine being in your place. So there's that. And so having empathy towards other people, you know, I know that I don't want to punch you in the face because I don't want to be punched in the face.
Because I don't like it, yeah.
Right, like kind of thing. But when you're a child, when when I was a child, I didn't have that empathy. And I know that because I have children that are young, and when you're 3, 4, 5 years old, the world does kind of revolve around you, and I didn't know how to navigate outside of that, but I still had these moral standards inside of me that I knew that it wasn't okay for me to take things that weren't mine, right? I knew that it wasn't okay for me to hide things and it wasn't okay for me to not be honest. And just being afraid of getting in trouble for that stuff was a big part of why I kept all that stuff secret, And so what is moral? What is moral? Like, Jordan, give us a definition of moral, will you? Because definitions definitely help.
I know you're a person that really likes to define everything. And so I think that that's okay. But I mean, it really does help. What you got, Jordan?
Okay, so a person's standards of behavior or beliefs concerning what is and is not acceptable for them to do.
Yeah.
For them.
So their standards or beliefs.
What is acceptable for them themselves to do.
Like, that being said, like, I have to think that these standards come from a lot of the times, like, the way that we were raised. I know in my case, and I touch on it a little bit in my story, like, I, had somewhat of a religious upbringing, but I don't know, because, like, it really feels to me like, and maybe it's just because once I got away from that religion, I still had those morals and standards. It feels to me like it's deeper than that.
I agree.
Yeah.
It feels like it is more a part of me than I care to admit.
Yeah. Than just like somebody instilling that in you, right?
Yeah. Kind of like my work ethic and, my love for my family. Like it's a part of who I am. And it's like a part of my DNA.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it. And I think honestly, like, it almost feels like it's such a big part of my alcoholism, those morals and standards, because what happens is when I compromise them, as we've talked about, I have that guilt and shame. And I think that that's sort of where things go downhill is once I'm in that state of guilt and shame. And I dare say that every alcoholic or addict that I know about finds themselves in a similar situation. And I think that there's something for me that's spiritual in nature about having that voice within that's telling me what's right, what's wrong, what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing, and then doing the exact opposite, right? And the feeling that I get inside when I ignore or do the opposite of what that inner voice or that consciousness is telling me to do. And I think that that's where I get into that negative space that will just lead to more of that, moral compromising behavior.
Yeah.
So it was very easy for me to justify, stealing from somebody when I've already been lying to the people around me.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera.